Hi, Terry here again. Welcome back. Yesterday I was out here at the test range firing my Lyman Great Plains rifle. So today it's time to get her cleaned up and put away until the next time. But first, I want to make a couple of quick corrections. In that last video, I mentioned several times that the Lyman Great Plains rifle is made by Lyman. And somebody, a viewer, and I appreciate the comment, correctly pointed out that the rifle itself is not actually made by Lyman, in that there's no factory called Lyman Firearms or whatever where they actually build these. It's made in Italy by a company called Invest Arms. Well, that is true. The thing about that is it's made under contract to Lyman from this other company. It's Lyman's design, it's Lyman's specifications. They're just contracting the work out, the assembly work out to Invest Arms. And let's face it, Invest Arms is not building every single part of this rifle. They're assembling it. They're not, I don't know this for a fact, but I don't think they're extruding or forging the barrels themselves. They're probably contracted that out to another company to make for them. They probably contract out the blanks for the stocks and then they finish it up. They contract this stuff out. Lyman is just contracting the build out to Invest Arms, but it's still Lyman's design, Lyman's specifications. So I'm going to stick with it's made by Lyman. It's just the work is being contracted out to another company, who then in turn is contracting out subcomponents to other companies, assembling them, sending them back to Lyman. Yeah, you know, it could be a 6 and 2 3s. Really, it's not manufactured by Lyman, but it's got Lyman stamped in the barrel. And again, I've already said this a couple times, but it's made specifically for Lyman to Lyman specifications. In my mind, that means it's made by Lyman. It's a Lyman-made rifle. It's just assembled by somebody else. Yeah, you're certainly free to disagree with that. That's fine. But it was correct in pointing out that it is assembled by another company. Okay, next point. I also mentioned that GoX had gone out of business, and it had. But another viewer pointed out they thought that it had come back up in operation under new ownership. Well, I did a little quick searching, and it seems that, yeah, actually it has. It is back up in business. Their website is back up, and they've even got a list of distributors that you can buy their powder through. So, since I shoot black powder, why didn't I know that? Well, first of all, this is new news. They just opened back up recently. So I heard that GoX had gone out of business, but I had not heard that they came back. So correction there. It may not be on your stores, local stores' shelves yet, because it's just recently started back up. But check around. You can probably find it somewhere. Okay, now let's clean this rifle up, which, as it turns out, is actually a lot easier than you might think. Without those two corrections, this wouldn't even be long enough to really justify calling it a video. Let's get back up to the house and get started. So we really only need very little tools to actually clean a flintlock rifle. I actually just use this generic shotgun cleaning kit that I bought from Walmart. It breaks down into 3 pieces, as you can see here, and it's very easy to carry around in a possibles bag. The ramrod itself is threaded. You can get a cleaning jag and put on it. It's just one more piece of equipment I have to keep up with because I shoot other black powder too, and I can use this on all of them. So I don't have to have a, you know, the threads don't match. You can get a cleaning jag, but the threads for like this swab here won't fit that ramrod. So I have to buy a separate tool, and I can just use this. So if you want to, you know, buy one, go ahead. But you'll need that. Actually, you'll need 2 swabs, one to clean, one to dry it out with. And I find that it doesn't get dirty enough to need a scrub brush, but I think that depends on how you shoot. And also remember that I run a damp swab down the barrel between every round. So it's not really that dirty to start with. You need a little oil. I use rim oil. And I find that All black powder guns clean up just fine with a little hot soap and water. This is Dawn dishwashing detergent and water. We'll need a few paper towels. So let's get started cleaning. There are really only two major components to this that we have to clean, the barrel and the lock. And on the lock, all we really need to clean is the outside of the lock, because I mean, you can see this thing's pretty well sealed in there. It just isn't very many ways gunk and grime can get back in behind it. In fact, if you're not living 24/7 out in the wilderness, you probably would never have to take this off ever. So to take the barrel out, first we're going to remove the ramrod. I'm going to back up here so you can get a little better view. And then we've got to take out a couple of wedges. There's a wedge here and a wedge here. And these just, basically, they just pop out. One thing I've noticed about this particular rifle, and I don't know if it's plains rifle in general or just this particular gun, but these wedges look the same, but they aren't. If I reverse these, if I put the wedge that's in the front here in the back, it won't stay in. It's too loose, and every time I shoot it, it flies out, which out in the forest could be a bit of a problem. So again, I don't know if it's with all of them or just this one, but I've got to keep these separate. I cannot get these mixed up, or I could very easily be losing one. And if they don't loosen up enough by hand, or if they don't loosen up enough to take them out by hand, you can help it along a little. Front. So back, front. Okay. And now put it on half cock. And that's just to get the flint up out of the way. And the barrel just lifts out, just like that. It's got a little slot back here in the back of the, where this is called the breech, and this is the breech plug, and it just fits into that. I can see it. You can't see it. It just fits down in there, and it just lifts up and out. Okay, so I'm going to set this off to the side for the moment, and we're going to clean the barrel up. So all I'm going to do and just put the breech where the touch hole is here down into that hot water, and then I'm just going to run this swab down it and back out. And get it wet, get some soap on it. And like I said, I don't really need to use a scrub brush because I keep that barrel fairly clean anyway while I'm shooting it. So that's another advantage to running a swab down as you go. Okay, that pretty well got it. Drain that out. Now here's where it gets tricky. I'm going to take it inside to the kitchen sink. And we're just going to run some hot, clean hot water down that barrel. So it comes out the other end nice and clean. It's draining out nice and clear. You can't see anything? Well, that's because it's nice and clear. It's clean. That's why you can't see it. Here we are. Now, back outside. And that was just to get the soap out of the inside of the barrel. I could have used a water hose, or if I'm out camping, I could just pour some water from the canteen down it. The idea is just get it cleaned out. So now I'm just going to wipe it down with a paper towel. Then I'm going to change that swab out for a dry swab, clean swab, and run that down. And I'm just going to run that down a couple times. Then let's spray some rim oil down the barrel. And what I like about rim oil is it will actually dry out and it leaves a silicone coating behind. So it's not going to leave oil all, down in the barrel, dunking it all up. If I was going to shoot it again right away, I probably wouldn't do that. Now I'm just going to work that oil down in the barrel and look the touch hole over. It's nice and clean. Blow through it. Nice and clean. So now the barrel's done for now. So now I'm going to turn my attention to the lock. The stock itself, very clean. And the lock isn't really that dirty. And that's because the powder is sitting in this flash pan. And when it fires, it just flashes up and out. So all that smoke and soot just kind of blows up and out. Very little actually gets on the lock itself. And if you've ever had one of these apart, you know what I'm saying when I say it's really amazing just how little dirt and soot and dust and gunk can get down behind this. Again, unless you're just out living in the forest, you pretty much never even have to touch it. And I just wipe it off with a paper towel with a little rim oil on it. And that's all there is to it. Nice and clean. Nice and clean. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Time to put it back together. Now, first I'm going to spray lightly the outside of that barrel with oil, and then I'm just going to reverse the process. I'm just going to slip that cook into this breech here, and then put in the two plugs back in, and we're done. Front plug. Back plug. That's it. Oh, yeah, gotta have the ramrod. You can polish that brass up if you want to keep it nice and pretty, but I don't like it being nice and shiny because then it reflects light out in the forest. So I generally just leave it alone. Rub that oil down around it a little bit. There it is. Nice and clean, oiled, ready to put back on the shelf until I shoot it again. Thanks for watching and see you next time.